few people that are responding. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Oh, a couple more. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll out. But again, if you need additional information on that, please feel free to give me a call. Lastly, before we get to the meat and potatoes of our webinar, would like to talk to you about the IAMS 2019 Marketing Summit. It's going to be from August 25th through the 29th. It is in Naples, Florida. The invitational period or qualification period is from January 1st of 2018 through June 30th of 2019. So we're coming close to the closeout period on it. We have a lot of agents that have already qualified for the trip. As you see here, here's an eligibility for the trip. Any combination of whether it's annuity premium, Medicare, a supplement premium, single premium life, or a life target premium or long-term care. The qualifications are listed here. If you have any questions on how close you are or if you've qualified for the summit, feel free to give us a call here. Our number here, as you've seen on quite a few of these slides, it's 800-255-5055, and any one of our sales directors can help you with that. And with that, I am going to turn this over to Morgan Holbein. So let me change the presenter over to Morgan. Morgan, you there?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. All right, I've got you pulled up here. So again, Morgan Holbein with Assurity. Take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Anthony. Again, this is Morgan with Assurity, and we are going to go over a brand new product today. So it's always an exciting day when you get to release and launch and talk about a new product. So if you know anything about Assurity and our health products, you know we've had critical illness for a while now, but we had two separate products. We now combined them into one streamlined and really simple product. So we're going to go over all the changes because there's quite a few of them, and just talk about also where to use this product, what the target markets are, the niches, and then I'll have some sales ideas at the end as well. So as we go ahead and type any questions you have in that chat box, and we'll answer a few of them here at the end. Otherwise, you can contact IAMS afterwards as well and ask any further questions that you have. So just to explain a little bit about who we are as a company, Assurity is a mutual insurance company. We are located just down the road from IAMS, actually in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's where our home office is. And so if you call in and talk to anyone in our customer connections department, if you talk to someone in underwriting, new business, whatnot, you're going to be talking to a live person from Assurity from our home office. We've been around for over 128 years, and we are a certified B corporation, which we're the first insurance company in Nebraska to receive that rating. So we're super proud of that, and we try our best to take that into our everyday work with our clients, between you as agents and then the clients that you serve. Like Anthony said, my name is Morgan. I'm a regional sales coordinator here. I work alongside Paige Phelps, who's our regional sales manager. So we work closely with IAMS to bring you guys these products. So feel free to reach out if you want to say hi or talk further. So jumping right into it, I'm just going to start with a good stat here, and we're just going to talk a little bit about why critical illness is important. So we know the importance of life insurance. We know disability insurance is really important to protect that income, but critical illness is actually very critical. So the name is very fitting, and it can pay for just a multitude of things, which is why it's so important as well. So 40% of Americans say that they have savings to cover an unexpected $1,000 expense. So that could be maybe an emergency room visit or just out-of-pocket medical expenses. So only 40% of Americans say that they could cover that. So that means 60% of Americans would either have to borrow money through a loan, they'd pay it with a credit card, borrow from friends or family, and then 10% just said that they don't know what they would do. So that is a large majority of people, which means there is a largely underserved market out there that could really use this product. So what's great about it is it does pay a lump sum benefit upon diagnosis. So you're able to do whatever you would like or whatever you need to do with that money. So whether that's paying out of pocket medical expenses, high deductibles, if you have that high deductible health plan. It could also be for to replace your salary if you are out of work, if you have to put the kids in daycare because you are a stay-at-home mom. It can go towards that. It can go towards absolutely anything you'd like. So to jump into the specifics, each point on here is a highlight of the product, but it's also something that we changed. So I'll kind of go through how it looks different and what those highlights are. So before we had two different products. We had a simplified critical illness and a fully underwritten. So now we combine the two into one streamlined product that is just called Assurity Critical Illness. So if you're looking for it on AssureLink, our agent portal, in iPipeline, whatnot, it's just going to be called Assurity Critical Illness. We do have the old products available until June 17th. So you're able to write those, sign them, get them in, date them by June 17th, and we'll still take them. So you will see those two products still in there for the states it was approved in. So it was approved and launched on June 3rd for 18 states. There are new ones being approved every day, so we're going to do another rollout here in July and release some more states. So eventually we'll get to all of them, and I'll just list off the ones here real quick that we have. We have Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Georgia, Hawaii, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Michigan, Mississippi, Nebraska, New Mexico, Nevada, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Texas. So we have the majority of the Midwest, a little bit of the Southeast and South, working on California. I know that's a big one, but they did come back with a response, so that's good that we're at least corresponding with them. And then Florida will probably be one of our last ones. So keep watching for the release, that second release. That'll come sometime in July, but we do have 18 states ready to go. So we'll still have the same benefit range that we had before with the two products. So we'll write from $5,000 all the way up to $500,000. And we are the only carrier out there that still writes to that $500,000 benefit amount. The simplified underwriting cuts off at $75,000. This old simplified product cut off at $50,000. So this is a definite upgrade from that. That means no medical exams. The most they would have to do is just a short phone interview. Issue ages, this also changed. So it used to be 18 to 64. We actually bumped that up to age 70. So that is huge in the senior space, just because now you can pair it with those that are retiring, they're signing up for Medicare, pair it with a Medicare supplement product. So opens up a whole new line of opportunities. We have 11 covered conditions now. So if you used our old products, you know that we had 13 for the simplified and 22 for the fully underwritten. So that might be a little shocking, and you might be wondering why so many were cut out. And it's not that they were cut out, we just kind of condensed a few and moved a few around to an additional critical illness rider. For example, some of the organs that were part of the organ transplant were split out before, so we put that all into one category. So that's the organ transplant category. We got rid of a few that just were not being claimed on whatsoever. We moved the severe burns over to the additional critical illness rider, which I'll get into in a little bit. And we also added a couple new ones that you guys have been asking for. So I'll get to those once we get to the covered conditions page. But the way we pay out on those is also different. So if you're familiar with the old product at all, Well, we did have a unique way of paying it out, but we're actually changing that up a bit. So we used to do the 3-category approach where we would pay once in each category before it closed out. And then once all 3 categories have been satisfied or paid out on, then we would close the product. So it wasn't a one and done policy. It still is not a one and done policy. We'll actually pay out on all 11 covered conditions separately with a 6-month separation period in between. So there are no more categories. So a person would have to be paid out on all 11 conditions in order for that policy to close out. So more than likely, unless they're extremely unlucky, this policy is never going to close. So that's a cool new feature as well. Definitely original and different from ways other critical illness policies pay out. Again, you do have to have a 6-month separation between diagnoses, so keep that in mind. Another change we made is it is guaranteed renewable for life. So the way it used to be was the policy would just close out and be done at age 75, and it would the benefit would reduce by 50% at age 65. So now it is guaranteed renewable for life. So we stretched it all the way out to 121, and then we reduced the benefit by 50% at age 70, or 3 years after the issue date. What I mean by that is if the person is, say they're 68, 69, or age 70 when they sign up for the policy, we're not just gonna, in a year or two, reduce it by 50%. We'll wait 3 years before we do that. So just a little note for the older ages. Want to mention the pre-existing condition limitation. So we will not pay benefits for a critical illness that is caused by a pre-existing condition unless the diagnosis is after this policy has been enforced for at least 12 months from the issue date. So keep that in mind. There is a little pre-existing clause in there. So they just won't be able to be paid out until after 12 months if this was already a pre-existing condition. So the last little bullet point on there, this is included in the policy. So there is a separate rider that is called Return of Premium Rider, but I'll talk about the differences here once I get to that rider slide. But this one returns any premiums paid minus any claims that we paid to the person, the insured, upon death if it's from a cause other than one of the specified critical illnesses. So it'll be paid, that means that benefit, excuse me, not the benefit, the premiums that they paid in, including any premiums for the rider, the base policy, minus any claims that we paid to them, will go back to the beneficiary or the estate. All right, so I want to show you a list of those covered conditions. I mentioned that we do have 11, and we will pay a full benefit on all 11 of these before the policy closes out. So we have, you'll notice a lot of these are still the same. So we have heart attack, bypass, angioplasty, which will pay 25% of the benefit. Stroke, invasive cancer, non-invasive is also 25%. Kidney failure, major organ transplant, so that includes the heart this time as well. Advanced Alzheimer's disease, paralysis, and coma. So we used to have severe burns on this list. That actually moved over to the additional critical illness rider, where you can add on 6 additional critical illnesses. So you'll see that over here in a second. But these are the covered conditions. Again, you have to have 6-month separation period in between each before we'll pay out another benefit. I'm going to spend a good amount of time on these riders today. The ones in blue, so 5 of them are brand new to the policy. So we're really excited about these because you can really customize them to fit any client that you're working with. And there's some really cool features here that you can add on. And then we made a few changes to the ones in the black, which are riders that we already had on the old product as well. We're just carrying them over. So the accidental death benefit is from the old product that we carried over. The child critical illness rider, this one you used to be able to select either a $5,000 or a $10,000 benefit, and that would cover all your children, whether you have 1 or 10. So it works the same, but the benefit now ranges from $5,000 to $50,000. So That's pretty awesome. And again, it's just one price, one premium for all of your children, whether it's 1 or 10. So critical accident rider, we'll get to, we have the disability waiver. The return of premium rider is a little different from the built-in return of premium. This one, we will pay back your premiums. This is more of a living benefit. So we'll pay back your premiums minus any claims to you at age 75 if you still have the policy and haven't canceled it or let it lapse. If you cancel it or let it lapse before age 75, we'll still pay out any premiums that you paid in minus any claims, so you'll still get something back. So that's a rider that you can add for some additional premium. And then the spouse critical illness rider works the same as well. So we're going to go over each one of these that are in the blue on a separate slide, just because I think they're really important, and they are brand new, so you probably haven't seen them yet. We have the additional critical illness rider, which I've kind of alluded to already, but this pays a lump sum benefit when the insured is diagnosed with one of these following conditions. Basically, it just adds on another 6 covered conditions to the 11 that we already cover. It'll pay out the exact same. You still need a 6-month separation period between each. It just gives you a full 17 instead of 11. So the 2 that are brand new that were highly asked for that we listened and added are the advanced ALS and the advanced Parkinson's disease. So these are going to be really crucial in the senior space since it's really common, especially in males over the age of 65. So that can be added on for additional premium. We also have loss of sight, loss of hearing, benign brain tumor, and then severe burns moved over to this additional critical illness rider. So again, you can add this rider on, get 6 more covered conditions for an additional premium. The critical accident rider, so this one is very useful if the person is looking for an individual accident or hospital indemnity type plan, and then also a critical illness, cancer plan, whatnot, because you can combine them into one and give them that critical illness, which covers more than cancer, and then an accident or hospital indemnity plan as well, but you can keep it on one policy. So this one pays a lump sum benefit if they are confined to a hospital due to a covered accident. They have to be an inpatient and in the hospital for at least 20 continuous hours. The hospitalization must also occur within 45 days of that covered accident. So the way it pays out, it says it pays a lump sum. It'll be anywhere between $2,500 and $25,000. There is a chart in our product guide, so if you want to go take a look at that on a Sure link here afterwards, you can see that. But just to give you a little example of what it looks like, if they're in the hospital 1 to 2 days with no surgery, they'll receive a $2,500 lump sum benefit. If they're in the hospital 1 to 2 days with surgery, they'll receive a $5,000 lump sum benefit. 14 plus days in the hospital, they'll get that maximum benefit of $25,000. So that is the way it kind of works and pays out. Just gives you a little taste of how that works. So it depends on the days and then whether or not they had surgery. That'll determine how we pay that benefit out. The increasing benefit rider, this increases the benefit amount by 5% from the initial benefit amount for 10 years after you issue the policy. So this one you can start at a max of 50,000. So we can't have you start any higher than 50,000. So let's say you picked a $50,000 benefit amount, put on the increasing benefit rider, you would receive, or your benefit would go up $2,500 each year. So after 10 years, you would end up with a $75,000 benefit amount rather than the 50. Now, what's cool about this rider is while the benefit increases each year for 10 years, the premium does not. The premium stays the exact same. So it really works well for maybe someone that's younger or just someone that has a specific budget they want to stick to, so they can only afford the $50,000 policy, but they want the 75. So this is a way to get them there while still staying in their premium budget. And this one's pretty inexpensive as well, and I'll show you an example of this once we get to the sales idea so you can kind of see what the rates look like on that. This is another rider that was asked for, some sort of long-term care type rider. So we have the loss of independent living. So this pays 25% of that benefit amount if they lose the ability to perform 2 or more ADLs. Now, there is a stat out there that says 75% of people in nursing homes cannot perform 2 or more ADLs. So that's a staggering statistic and kind of shows you what the need is out there for this type of rider. So the condition has to be diagnosed by a doctor, have persisted for at least 180 days, and then wait a 30-day waiting period. So great for the senior space there. The last one on here, and this is probably one of my favorite ones of the newer ones, this one pays a lump sum benefit if the insured receives a subsequent diagnosis of the same critical illness for which we already paid a benefit for. So the reoccurrence rider. So that just means that we'll add another occurrence on there. So another heart attack, another stroke, another occurrence of cancer, whatnot. They just have to be symptom and treatment free for a period of 12 months in between the payouts, so the benefit. So I like this one. This one's important to me just because of the statistics out there having to do with heart attacks, for example. So if someone has a heart attack, their percentage of having another one, or the possibility of them having another one, increases greatly. Same goes for stroke, same goes for cancer, whatnot. So the possibility of them having a reoccurrence is actually very great. And this rider is actually very inexpensive, and I'll show you an example of that too in the sales ideas. But super inexpensive, so it's something that you can add on to just about everyone's policy. All right, so heading into some sales ideas, so you can get, we'll have 3 of them, so you kind of have a good idea of where this fits, the kind of people to talk to, how to set it up, and what the rates kind of look like. So the first idea we have here is an emotional hit. So we all know someone that is either a family member, a friend, a coworker, whatnot, that has been diagnosed with a critical illness. And it really just makes you think, what would I do? What would happen to me and my family if I were to be diagnosed with a critical illness? How would we survive? How would we keep our house and whatnot? So this is a good example of that. So Brian is 42. He's a husband and a parent to 2 kids. His concerns are the impact on his family and their financial security. So kind of like I mentioned, so he wants to make sure that the whole family is covered. So the solution here would be a $75,000 critical illness for Brian. So that keeps him still at the simplified limits, so no medical exam for him, for $88.19 a month. We also have the reoccurrence rider on there, just so that doubles the possibility of payouts there. So $8.60 a month for a 42-year-old non-smoker. The child rider, he selected $25,000 for all of his children. So both children will receive a $25,000 benefit. And that is only $5.10 a month. And the spouse rider, just so his wife is covered as well, $50,000, $31.68 a month. So altogether for that total family coverage is $133.57 a month. And all 4 of them are covered, also covered for reoccurrences. So really good deal there to cover themselves from any of the 11 critical illnesses. Stay-at-home parent, I think this one's really interesting because it's something you might not think of, because stay-at-home parents might not be the first people that you talk to about insurance. So Lauren is 34, she's married, she stays at home with her 2 kids. So her concern is she's worried about her kids and then the bills that would accrue if she got a serious illness. So I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but Lauren obviously has been staying home with her children while her husband goes to work. So if she were to be diagnosed with a critical illness and is unable to care for her children during the day, they would have to send them to a daycare. So obviously that would be a new expense for them that they're not used to. So that's where that critical illness benefit would kind of kick in, plus any out-of-pocket medical expenses or whatnot, depending on what kind of health insurance she has. So the solution here is just a small $25,000 critical illness insurance policy. So $17.13 a month. We also added the increasing benefit rider on there for a few reasons. One, I wanted to show you how affordable it is. So this is a 34-year-old non-smoker. It's only $3.74 a month. And we did this mostly because of inflation. So as you know, medical expenses go up just about every year. Daycare expenses definitely go up just about every year. I know that one for a fact. So after 10 years, her benefit's going to be at $37,500 rather than that $25,000, but her premiums will not go up. So she'll only be paying $20.87 a month to get that coverage. So super affordable there. So the last one I have is a single woman. This could go the same way for a man, but she's 52, recently divorced, and she has a high deductible health plan. She wants to make sure that she can keep her condo and then pay her other medical bills. So when it's just you and you don't have a dual income household to kind of lean back on, you have to make sure that you're able to keep your house, you're able to pay your bills, because you are the only person that you're able to rely on. So the solution here is a $50,000 critical illness insurance policy for $77.63 a month. And again, she's a 52-year-old non-tobacco user. So that's the rates for that. So just some more sales tools, marketing ideas. Our podcasts are on here. You can save those marketing materials, download them, email them out, print them out, whatnot. The website, the microsite for this is called critical.outlook.com. So it's a little faster to get to than logging into your AssureLink account if you're contracted with us and whatnot. So everything's there. Our national webinar for the launch that we did on the launch day is on there as well. So if you want to listen to another presentation, but head there to get some additional materials and some more sales ideas, podcasts as well. So these are our consumer materials for the new product. So the one on the far left is our consumer-facing brochure. So it's just a couple pages and goes over the main highlights and how it works and all of that. The second, just a one-pager that kind of goes over the why critical illness, why it's important, why they need it. And then at the bottom, it talks about how it works. So it'll talk about buying, it'll talk about submitting a claim and then getting paid. And then the third one is about mortgage protection. So it's usually people's biggest asset. So we want to make sure that it is protected if they were to come be diagnosed with a critical illness. Then the last one's a critical illness video. It's about a 1-minute video that's made for consumers. So you can throw it on your LinkedIn page, Facebook, send it out in an email, whatnot. So that is all on critical.outlook.com, along with our podcast, which I mentioned. So our podcast is called Tips from the Insurance Pros. So you can look that up wherever you typically listen to your podcast. So I usually listen on Spotify. It's on there, and I subscribe to that. And we talk about all of our different products, not just our health products or critical illness products, but we do have some awesome critical illness producers on there. They're some of our top producers. So they talk about what works well for them, where they use the product, where they find their clients, what works for them. So you can get some really good sales tips and ideas there just from talking to actual real producers that are out there doing really well with this product. So make sure you check that out. And that brings us to our questions. So I don't see anything in the chat, but I'll let Anthony take a look on his end. Go ahead and send over a question through that chat box if you have one.
Okay, I'm back on. Yeah, if anyone, hang on, I'm going to switch this over here real quick. Back to me. Let's see. Okay. All right. So does anyone have any questions at all? I'm not seeing any, Morgan. So what I'm going to do is there are a couple of survey questions. So the first survey question that I have here is going to be if you would like any additional information on Assurity's critical illness product. So looks like quite a few people are saying yes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And Morgan, I stand corrected. There is a question.
Okay.
All right. So, all right, the first one I have, when does the policy terminate?
The policy terminates at age 121. It reduces by 50% at age 70.
Okay. And next question, will the premium be adjusted when the benefit is reduced?
It does not adjust. It does say it stays level for the entirety of the policy.
If the client is 64 currently, has a simplified critical illness, is there any benefit to updating?
If they're interested in any of the riders, I would switch them over. It's also guaranteed renewable for life or to age 121, and the old one terminates at age 75.
Okay.
The pricing is pretty similar to the old product. I think in older ages it might be just slightly higher. So there's not a whole lot of difference there, but I think there is more of a benefit of going with the new one for sure.
Okay. And that's if they're in one of the states where it's available currently, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Lastly, last poll question that I have out there is going to be, if you're not currently appointed with Assurity and you would like to get appointed with Assurity through IAMS, I've got a polling question here. Just answer yes or no. And if you are appointed with Assurity through IAMS and you're looking for ways to write this product or any other products that they do offer, please don't hesitate to give me a call on that. So I'll leave this up for a few more seconds. Looks like, Morgan, we have a few people that aren't appointed that want to get appointed. So that's always good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And with that, that concludes today's webinar. I want to thank you, Morgan, for providing us with the update on Assurity's critical illness product. I'm sure a lot of people find this an improvement, if I can say that, or just something that's you've improved on what was already a great product. Let's just put it that way. So thank you for giving us the updates on that. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to give me a call here at 800-255-5055, or you can shoot me an email at tony@iamsinc.com. Lastly, thanks again. You guys have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Bye.